Hello chess friends, and welcome to Azadov's chess channel, and welcome to my series playing d4. So in this series we see opening theory while playing the first move d4, so this is our preparation while playing as white. I also created this hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense series and my King's Indian defense series in order to help you with some preparations while playing as black. This is now preparation while playing as white, and we do again this so-called Slav defense with its Chameleon variation, this a6 setup, and this Chameleon variation I also did in my previous video of this d4 series. Today we'll do another line which is also a common line, and in this line I wanted to show you this bishop takes on f6 idea, in which you're doubling up your opponent's pawns, creating a weak pawn structure, and just continue the game to playing positionally and try to find weak squares in your opponent's position. So let's see now this Chameleon variation with this bishop on f6 idea by white. Here we have d4 d5, now c4, c6. Now our common setup in the against the Slav defense: knight on f3, knight on f6, knight on c3. Now comes this Chameleon move, this common Chameleon variation move a6, and here I recommend you again c takes d5. If knight takes on d5, then of course we have a very strong move e4. We have a very nice central control with our pawns, so that's why black will probably take with the c pawn. Here in my previous video I also recommended bishop on g5, which creates now this positional threat of taking out the knight on f6, which will be our main theme today. And here black can maybe play knight on c6. Here I really recommend you to play bishop takes on f6. So after g takes on f6 we can play simply e3, and okay, black has the bishop pair, but it's really hard to here for black to secure the king. If black maybe castles long here with some preparations, we could create maybe here sort of a discovered attack with rook on c1 on the king. So probably black is not going to castle long here, and the main goal here in these types of lines is this knight on a4, knight on c5 jump with their knight to create sort of a really outpost on c5, because you see black has already weakened his queen side with the move a6, and if he tries maybe b6, this would be also weakening much further his queen side, and these two pawns on a6 or b6 could be maybe our main targets in the continuation of the game. So here I wanted to show you an instructive game. It was played by Eugen Perelshtin against Samuel Sevian, and here e6 was the continuation, and here white played rook on c1. You see now also black's problems. If he castles here kingside, he has already again weakened his king side with this g takes on f6 move. So sometimes in these types of variations black will stay with the king in the center trying to defend with his bishops, but also create a counter attack with his bishop, because the bishops are good defensive and also attacking pieces. And here black played bishop on e7. We have bishop on e2, bishop on d7, simply developing moves. Now castling by white. The thing that you have to memorize while playing this line is this common king on h1 move, in order to get out of a potential rook on g8 idea to create sort of an attack on the king. So king on h1 really solves sometimes the problems. Here black tried queen on a5, and now comes a3, which is also a common move, because we have the preparation here to play a3 b4, and then maybe knight on d7, knight on b3, knight on c5, or maybe knight on a4, knight on c5. Again, I'm pointing out this is the main weakness in our opponent's position, the c5 square, which we should really occupy with our knight. And if the bishops in some occasion takes out the knight on c5, you see then black will continue the game with a very weak bishop on d7. In my previous video this bishop on c8 was also the problem. So the light square problem, the light square bishop was always a long-term problem in black's position. Here again the c5 has to be occupied by our knights. In some occasion it's possible to occupy it with the rook, but with this knight on c5 outpost we create sort of a space advantage on the other side of the board, on our opponent's half of the board, and this is how we should play this positional chess. And here let's see now the continuation. Here f5 was played, and now we have knight on d2, preparing really this knight on b3, knight on c5 idea. Here b5 was played, and now knight on b3, kicking away the queen. Now we have queen on b6, and now bishop on d3. This is now liberation move. Here we're really to play with our queen on h5. Then in some occasions we could really maybe even break through here this firm pawn structure around black's king. If this bishop gets now liberated, we could create sort of an attack on the square f7. So here black continue bishop on d6 in order to create his attack, maybe with queen on c7 and then some h2 attacks. Here queen on h5, now knight on e7, and now knight on c5. Finally we produce this positional idea. Here if bishop takes, then we can of course take with the pawn, and if the queen takes, then we have a discovered attack on the queen with knight on b5, and basically it would be game over for black. So here rook on d8 was played, and now we have b4. Here bishop takes on c5 was played, now d takes c5, and now queen on b7. Again, I'm pointing you out, we have the problems here for the light square bishop. Knight on e2 was played, and now we are searching for other squares again with our knight on these dark squares, because there are many weaknesses around black's king. So we are searching for these squares. The best squares of course would be this d6 square. If we manage to create an outpost here on d6, well, this would be really game over for black, because this knight will be really hard to kick away from this very annoying square. Here knight on c6 was played, f4, rook on c8, we have knight on d4, we have rook on b8, and I'm pointing out again, if black takes this knight on d4, then we can simply recapture with the pawn. Again, this bishop would be really weak. It would be basically like a pawn blocked out by its own pawns. So in long terms this could be really a problem. Here rook on f3 was played. This is a very nice rook lift. Now the rook can come also in the attack through g3. We have queen on c7, now queen on h6, queen on d8, and now rook bishop takes on f5. Of course, if e takes f5, then we can simply capture this knight on c6. You see, black was really kicked away by this pawns, by this knights, by these rooks. This important c5 positional advantage by white is really hard to handle here. It really blocks out the whole queen side here, and black had really troubles to develop his pieces. Black hasn't castled so far. We have very nice rook lift. So many good elements of a chess game here played by white. Queen on e7, we have bishop on h3, king on d8, and now f5, breakthrough here immediately. Here king on c7, the king tries to escape. F takes e6, we have f takes e6, but now we are doubling up the rooks, and basically it's game over, because you cannot compete on the f file with our rooks. But here let's see the continuation. Knight on d8, here rook on g3, queen on e8, and now rook on g7, occupying the 7th rank. You see white moved really slowly forward. First we occupied the 5th rank, and then we are occupying this 7th rank. Very nice play here by white. King on c8, knight on c6, creating again a pawn breakthrough. Here bishop takes on c6, now knight on e6, very nice, creating also this discovered attack on the king. We have bishop on d7, and now rook takes on d7, very nice sacrifice. King takes on d7, and now very nice knight on g7, and it's game over, because after king on c7 we can take the queen, and black resigned after a couple of moves. So let's go back here after this e6. You see this doubling up pawn structure is really a weakness in black's position. It could be really a weakness in long terms. Again, I'm pointing out, this is our main target in these types of setups, this c5 square. So let's see another game here. It's a game played by Anton Korobov against Samuel Fiberg. Again, with the same line, we have this Chameleon variation with the exchange on an f6. Let's see now the continuation. Again, rook on c1. Rook on c1 is also a very good move, because it also protects this c5, because if the bishop takes in some occasions, we can create sort of a rook lift and sort of a rook outpost on c5. Here bishop on d7 was played, bishop on d3. We have now again f5, creating this firm pawn structure. Now castling again. Here bishop on d6, now a3. Again with the preparation, a3, b4, knight on a4, knight on c5. So this is the main outpost we are searching. Again, I'm pointing out, I'm repeating myself, but I really wanted to memorize it because black has really weakened the queen side here with this a6 move. You see these dark square problems. We should really occupy these squares. And here b5 played by black. Now b4. Now we can again play this maneuver with our knight on d2, knight on b3, knight on c5 again. So here rook on g8 was played, now king on h1, again this common move, getting out of the attack. Queen on f6, now g3, creating a blockade system against this bishop here on d6, which is the best piece so far in black's position. Knight on a7, we have queen on b3, we have rook on b8, queen on a2, king on f8. You see, black can do such things. He can secure the king here on f8, because we are not searching here in these types of positional play. We are not searching for this pawn breakthroughs and similar ideas. We're searching simply for this outpost. We're searching for this weak squares, maybe here in our opponent's position. It's really hard for white here to open the position, because if you open the position, this could be really deadly for you, because you know, while playing against the bishop, you want to you want the position to be closed. And here I don't really recommend you to open somehow the position to search maybe this f3, maybe e4 pawn breakthroughs, because here always could be a threat here, this move f4, and if this bishop pair gets open diagonals, well, you probably get crushed very easily. So here knight on d2 was played, here knight on c8, now knight on b3, knight on b6. Again, black is also searching for his outpost on c4, but again, knight on c5. Finally we get our main goal here, the outpost on c5. We have bishop takes on c5, and now b takes c5. The good thing is that we have now a supported pass pawn. This supported pass pawn, I've explained it in one of my basics in chess series, is really in strategical advantage, because it's really hard to battle for black against this supported pass pawn. Black is forced maybe to create sometimes sort of a blockade against this pawn, because in long terms, in a potential endgame, this pawn could be deadly for black. So here knight on c4, we have knight on e2, bishop on c6, and this bishop is again blocked out by its own pawns. Again, I'm pointing out it has troubles to develop here. Knight on g1, queen on g7, knight on f3. We again searching for better square for our knight. This could be maybe a continuation, could be maybe bishop takes on c4, and then creating an outpost on e5. Again, positional play, we're searching for squares, not creating pawn breakthroughs here. f6 was played in order to prevent this positional idea by white. Here knight on h4, here queen on c7 was played, and now knight on g2, king on e7, and here rook on a1, which is a preparation to liberate the queen from the defense of this a3, maybe queen on e2, and then queen on h5, like we saw in this previous example. Queen on a5 was played, and now king on g1, queen on c3, and here Anton Korobov finds a very nice idea. He plays queen on e2. He gives up this pawn, because this queen would be really stuck to the defense of this knight couple of moves. Meanwhile, we can really create this deadly attack, queen on h5, with the preparation maybe here to take out this h7 pawn. We have also here sort of a weakened pawn structure around the king. The king is still in the center. If now the position gets open, because black doesn't have any more the bishop pair, this could be really deadly for black. Now knight on a3, knight on f4, creating combined with queen on h5, a very deadly attack. We are searching now for a demolition of a pawn structure here around the black's king. a5 was played, now queen on h5, rook on g7, and now very strong move, bishop takes on f5. If you take, e takes f5, you see now black's problems, queen takes on f5, we have now potential queen on e6, we have also this weak pawn on d5, we could also kick away the queen first. So many tactical possibilities now here for black. So that's why after bishop takes on f5, e5 was played, but now rook on c1 attacking the queen, queen on b2, and now knight on d3 attacking the queen. The queen has to move here to b3. The queen is really endangered here, but now d takes e5, and here queen on a4 was played, but now queen on h6 attacking the rook. The rook has to move. We have rook on f7, now e takes f6, after rook takes on f6, very strong move now, queen on g7, and it's game over, because if you cover yourself with the rook, then you get queen on e5 with the double attack on the rook and the king, and black will lose too much material, and it's of course a completely winning endgame here for white. Okay, let's go back here after this common continuation here after a6. As I said, I recommend you here to search for this c5 outpost, which is our main strategical idea while playing against this exchange variation of the Chameleon setup of the Slav defense by black. Really search here for weak squares, not creating these pawn breakthroughs. Just play slowly, positionally, and I think you can manage to fight this very annoying setup by black. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, you can watch my other d4 videos from the series with some other with some preparation while playing against the Queen's Gambit accepted. We will do so many opening lines, because I want you to have all of these possible lines covered, because if you want to have a very nice repertoire, you should really be familiar with all the possible responses of your opponent. And you can also, as I said, watch my hyper accelerated ranked Sicilian defense series, and you can also watch my King's Indian if you have troubles while playing as black, and you can also subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.